walks into the box that he calls a home. Half a cigarette is lying by the stove. He don't talk to God, so he listens to the news. It tells him he ain't safe and the world is ending soon. He says, why am I so ugly? And why are you? And why do all these lies seem so much closer than the truth? Have I lost the virtue of patience? Did I slip right through the cracks?
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Robb Crocker Show. Myself, Alex Gonzalez, is here as always, and of course, JB, Jared Burrows, is here.
Absolutely.
In the studio, and of course, we have the man of the hour, Robb Crocker, is here. How are we doing today?
Dance with the devil, walk with the angels, let the truth set you free. What a day to be an American.
What a day to be an Iranian.
How proud are we of our armed forces for kicking that ass and doing what they were supposed to do successfully.
That was one hell of a strike, I'll tell you that.
It's amazing the strength and the stamina of the United States military to think that we had B-2 bombers leave the middle of United States of America and fly all the way to Iran. The coordination to logistically do all that, then fly back to just successfully eliminate, quote unquote, supposedly, we'll give this supposedly, but allegedly, to do something that the past three presidents didn't have the strength or the balls to do. So I'm proud of our president. I'm proud of all the military, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, the people who had the strength to do what was necessary to keep Iran from having a nuclear weapon.
And you know what was powering our armed forces was actually branch and barrel. Secret Intel is telling us this right now. The only way they were able to make it 36 hours without stopping is their real fuel, branch and barrel, best whiskey in all of Colorado, keeping them going strong. And that's how they were able to fly out of Missouri and basically head straight there. It was a 36-hour trip. I mean, just imagine sitting in a stationary seat for that long. That is hard work. I know it sounds, kind of dumb, but sitting there for 36 hours, not being able to move from that seat is pretty exhausting itself.
And just having the mental capacity to get there and have a plan that you had to go through with all of the other jets and everything there, the refueling, just the coordination to be able to do that just shows the strength of the United States military. And I'm very proud of them, even though a lot of Democrats are not.
Yeah, I think,
Which goes into what I want to say about the civility of the political state of where we are. It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat. You should be exuberant that we have set back Iran from having a nuclear weapon. They showed their true colors in the 12-day war that they would bomb hospitals. They would bomb innocent civilians. That's not war. Terrorism.
Yeah, I think that regardless of what was happening out there, I think that Trump's position, what I've seen so far, is that he doesn't want war whatsoever. He doesn't want the conflict that's going on. He was pretty upset today with both Israel and Iran. I think more so Israel, because once he did announce that ceasefire, which I was a little critical of, because he basically said the ceasefire will begin in 12 hours. And within 12 hours, Israel and Iran exchanged a few more firefights, so to say. And of course, both sides are claiming that, it was already planned and they tried to pull it back, whatever the case may be. Trump was pretty upset that they didn't do a better job of actually trying to keep the peace. And my whole thing is I do hope that this ceasefire, which has officially now gone into effect, stays that way. We know that Israel has not been the best at keeping ceasefires historically. Over 200 something ceasefires that they have gone against. And what we're being told really is
Iran or Israel?
Israel, actually. But what we're being told is that the current regime in Iran is basically tapping out. I think they were trying to escape Iran. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the next few days. We don't really know what is entirely true and what's not, but I'm curious to see how it unfolds for sure.
I think we're kind of watching a movie here. Like the world is a stage.
The unfortunate part about... Go ahead, JB.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, why else would he say 12 hours? He never announces plans in advance. I think he's just trying to prove a point that regardless of what's said, the Middle East will always continue to fight. But maybe this will be a great example of, like, we pull support if they continue to fight, and then people make a clear decision that if they keep fighting themselves, there's nothing that we could do by adding fuel to the fire to make them stop anyways.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, it goes back to the adage, peace through strength. I think that we showed our strength and that we have the ability to put our thumb on peace. I like that we're not going to get into the regime change, into the making of a new government. Let the Iranian people do what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at the end of the day,
the Democratic Party, Gonzo... Sorry, Gonzo, but the Democratic Party just saying...
Oh, hold on. Your mic got muted, Crocker.
Uh-oh.
For some reason, he's not appearing right here in the... Go back to the Video Ninja and see if you're still joined in there. Because you're not appearing here on my end. But yeah, I think essentially we need to let Iran figure out their own ordeal. We need to let Israel figure out what they're doing. I mean, personally, I do think kind of what you said, JB. It seems like Donald Trump may be playing chess more than we thought he was.
Absolutely, yeah.
It seems like he is kind of, I mean, like you said, for the past few days, he's been rather quiet about his plans, and then he acted rather quickly. And I think you have a great point where basically he said, here's a ceasefire. Let's kind of see what Iran and Israel are going to do because of that. All right. Crocker's back.
There we go. Yep.
All right. Little technical difficulties. So that just shows you how difficult it was to fly from Missouri to Iran and back. And we're in North Carolina and Florida and having technical difficulties, but we appreciate everybody working with us.
Absolutely. I was just talking about how, I mean, like kind of like you said, we need to let Iran figure out their own mess. We need to let basically the conflict in the Middle East kind of resolve itself, as long as it isn't asking for us to, you know, get involved. Meaning, like, if Iran is threatening the United States directly somehow, that would explain us getting involved. But if it's a conflict between Iran and Israel or whoever, we just need to let them sort that mess out, honestly.
I thought it was well said by President Trump when he said, we will not let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Mm-hmm. That's all that was. And he's made it very clear this afternoon that he will not further engage in any of the Iran-Israeli war, because he's already achieved what he said that he needed to achieve.
No, exactly. I mean, and basically having Israel and Iran expose themselves during the ceasefire, JB was saying maybe that was a part of the plan. Maybe it was an unexpected surprise for us, but he was clearly pissed with them. and he doesn't usually drop F-bombs in public, but he did today. And I think that
A lot of bombs going on.
a lot of bombs, but I think that kind of showed just how upset he really was. That he's just trying to, at the end of the day, make
You know
peace.
what that was, Gonzo and JB? That was speaking passionately.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I appreciate how real of a man he is and how much he loves and cares about all American citizens. And nothing about this is other than making America strong and great.
Yeah. I do think that.
And to be constantly bombarded by the political, how do you even think about we want to impeach President Trump
Make my day.
for
Do it.
protecting America?
It's ridiculous. He literally said that. He
It makes
said,
no sense.
he said, you know what? Do it. Make my day. Let's see how this goes. He's clearly fed up. I think that's what we've seen today is he's literally fed up. He's like, after everything I've done, you know, maybe not perfect, but everything that I have tried to do for this country, and all they can do and all they can say is he needs to be impeached, that he's still a bad president. He's clearly showing signs of being like, you know what? This is ridiculous. Obviously, I'm not saying he's going to step down or anything, but he's fed up for sure. He's fed up with the Democrats and even some of the Republicans.
I think it's amazing how deep he's gotten under all of their skin because he's overcome every obstacle and every hurdle that they have put in front of him, and he hasn't backed down at all. He keeps pushing forward. Look at the stamina and the hours that he works compared to what we had previously for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
No one's perfect.
I mean,
But what he is doing, he's doing for the betterment of the United States of America.
realistically, the amount of hours he works was the amount of hours that Joe Biden slept, and the amount of hours that Trump slept was the amount of hours that Joe Biden, quote unquote, worked, meaning he showed his face. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it's unbelievable just to see a president doing so much, whether you agree with him or not, or whether you like what he's doing or not. The fact that he is actually actively working all the time should demand some sort of respect from everyone at the end of the day. Is that at least you have a president that is showing initiative and showing that he cares and that he is Trump is a G in the comments here. He is a G trying to do what's best for the country.
You look at
Uh-oh.
Cut out again. He's coming in. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Maybe he'll come back.
Schumer been in Washington, D.C.
Say it again. How long has he been in there?
And what has he done? He's a Jew and has done nothing to protect the people that he supposedly represents.
No.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conflict there.
Did you see too? Speaking of that,
Yeah.
and I think this might have been a couple weeks ago at this point, but and I don't even remember if we talked about this, but the debate for New York governor. Did you see any of that? Where basically they were all asked what their first visit overseas was going to be, and each one of them said, "I want to go to the Holy Land. I want to go to Israel," and only one of them said, "Listen, as the new governor of New York, I would stay here in New York and help Jews here in New York because I'm the governor of New York. I'm not the governor of anywhere else." And they lit him up. They were furious that he said that, which is ridiculous. And to your point, Chuck Schumer has just been in there for 40 plus years, essentially collecting a paycheck and not actually representing anyone.
Well, I'm not sure what the votes totaled up this afternoon in New York City for the mayoral Democratic election, but you have a disgraced governor who had to quit, and now you have a 33-year-old individual who does not believe the Jewish state should exist. So it's ridiculous that I don't understand how people can't see through the bullshit.
I mean, there's so much of it, honestly. I think it's bullshit on top of bullshit. So you have like the obvious stuff, and then you have stuff that's more of psyop level, where it's like, listen, we're the good guys, but it's controlled opposition at the same time.
Can you imagine having a Muslim anti-Jew mayor of the largest city in the United States of America?
Well, I don't think he's anti-Jew necessarily. I think he's just opposed to Israel being a essentially Jewish supremacist state or country. He believes that Israel has the right to exist equally as everyone else does, but I think he's come out against the Jewish supremacy aspect of it, and he has admitted that he will fight for Jewish citizens in New York, meaning American citizens in New York, but that's his main focus. I don't know if he's necessarily anti-Jew, but he has come out against the state of Israel in such a way.
Well, I just think that we should start fighting for every American citizen and the American flag and be proud to be an American instead of constantly being detrimental to anybody and everyone who wants to see the country successful.
I agree.
Economically.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, real quick, what do you think about the laws they're trying to push for? Basically, people need to have their social media public if they're coming here so that our government can check if they have anti-Semitic views on social media.
I have no problem with that whatsoever because they're not American citizens, so they don't have a right to the First Amendment yet.
What about laws they're pushing for citizens, though, here in the United States?
I think that it's a double-edged sword to where if you have people who are, let's just go with one that I think everyone could agree with, is child pornography. I think that if you're in that realm of Facebook, Instagram, and all of the other, there's social media sites now that kind of have that where you can't find it, I think. But it's a hard one, Gonzo, because I think everybody's rights should be protected. But if you're doing something to children, if you're doing something to the country to create havoc, the FBI has to have a way. What is the one thing that everybody was so against about being wiretapped and all of that to where that to Trump several times? What's that act called?
The Patriot Act. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
where you can unilaterally pick and choose who you to listen to and things like that. Because I'm all about, I want my rights just like I want your rights and JB's rights, but I really don't want anyone. It's hard.
I think it's a slippery.
Social media makes it very difficult.
It's a slippery slope, like the Patriot Act and such. I do think that there are instances where privacy can be circumvented in order for the safety of Americans. I just think that the Patriot Act, for example, was a slippery slope because you don't want to give the government too much power to use it incorrectly. And at the end of the day, we really don't have good people in our government. Usually we've seen the government has acted selfishly. And I think in a perfect world, if the government really was looking out for us, we could maybe trust them to utilize something like the Patriot Act more. But at the end of the day, if they're coming after people simply for making a comment about someone, that's ridiculous. You want to bring up, crimes against children, that's a whole other story. I mean, crimes against children, that's a serious thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you just, make a quote-unquote hate comment towards someone, I don't think that should necessarily prevent you from doing certain things, whether it's getting a loan or opening a business or whatever.
I think that what you're saying, Gonzo and JB, I agree with. I don't think you can have a blanket that allows employers, lenders to research high ability to borrow money or to get a job.
Yeah, 100%.
Because when you're off hours, you're off hours. That right there goes to what you do when you're at home, whether you're gay, straight, whatever it is. That's your business. Just don't put it in an entity that creates issues for everyone else.
Yeah. It's one thing to, quote, like sort of monitor like Wi-Fi activity, for example, in your business. Meaning like if I'm an employee of, AG law firm and I'm using the law firm's Wi-Fi to essentially do stuff that's not work related, that's one thing.
Yeah, like playing games.
They're a private company.
Social media.
They don't want you wasting your time. But yeah, like you said, essentially, looking at what people are doing on their personal time and using that to make a judgment call on something, it should not be allowed.
That's why I think it was so critical for people after COVID to come back to work, go back to the office, to come back in a organized way to where you are working with your other people instead of just having all the free time you did at home.
Right.
Because when it's like the old adage, when the more free time you have,
More free time you have?
Yeah. And just letting you know, it does keep cutting in and out, but you come back right away now, so sometimes I might lose you for a bit, but...
Well, you know what I'm saying, so you can speak for me.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll chime in for you there. But yeah, I mean, going back to the whole 12-day war, as they're calling it, what do you think is going to happen next? Do you think that it's going to go quiet for a while, or do you think that we're going to run into a couple more issues, a couple more bumps in the road?
I honestly believe, with the president being in Hague right now, that I think the Iranians and the Israelis will keep the cool because I think they know he's pissed.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to shut off Israel really quick because Israel can't attack Iran without the weapons that we provide them.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think
that's go ahead.
No, yeah, I was gonna say at the end of the day, I think that part of his plan here is to, I mean, with that stealth bomb run, essentially, no other country in the world was able to detect those bombers. So I think, like you said, peace through strength. He is showing essentially that the United States, at the end of the day, we could pretty much screw you up if we really wanted to. And this is an administration of peace. That's not what we're going to do. But if you play around too much and you're wreaking havoc and causing death in the world, we will be able to stop you, and no one's going to be able to stop us from doing so.
Ironically, there's some scuttlebutt right now about having the military assets that we have over there to be able to get to the Indo-Pacific in a quick way because of the Taiwan-China scenario. They say that that's escalating quicker than anyone anticipated.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I mean, we've been talking about all these different potential wars escalating for so long. You know, Israel, Iran, the situation with China and Hong Kong, whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden now that we have President Trump in office, it seems like they've allowed these things to escalate further. They didn't really allow much to escalate under Biden versus, besides the Putin, besides Russia or Ukraine. But we kind of know that whole ordeal is not entirely real. It's all staged. But now they're having all these wars pop up, I think to kind of discredit Trump from him saying, listen, I had 4 years of no war. I'd like to have another 4 years of no war. They're trying to, again, mess with that and basically make Trump look bad, which they've been doing forever.
Well, the thing about it is, he spits in their face and just walks by him, and just raises his hand and says that I want to make America great again, and that's what he's doing. He multitasks like no other. He's not concentrated on Iran, Israel. He is dealing with all simultaneously, which is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, like,
So when people talk about China, I'm sorry?
no, at the end of the day, he is, I think he's capable of more than what we even see, what the media shows, obviously. I think that with patience and kind of trusting in his judgment, I think we've seen time and time again, it actually does work out for the better so far. And like you said, with China.
The thing that's beautiful about him is, like he said today, I'll use the word he used today. He has the ability to walk around carrying a big stick, knowing that I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do what's right by the country that I am the president of.
Right.
What else can you ask for? You want somebody that's going to sit on the beach under an umbrella? You want somebody that can't even walk down to the beach? You want someone that gives you word salad? I got, man, the greatest laugh of all this afternoon, right before we came on the air, is I heard Kamala Harris is going to run for governor of California.
It's quite a step up.
The worst part about it is she will probably win.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Did you see her, I think we talked about this before, did you see her new campaign poster that got released? Where everyone was, it was supposed to be people holding hands in unity. And the colors were a little wrong.
I have not.
Oh man, I'm going to send that to you. But basically, for lack of a better term, it literally looks like it's a bunch of people giving each other hand jobs. I'm not even exaggerating.
Keep your hands over there.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm gonna send it to you. You'll see it.
All right. I can't wait. But as far as Iran and Israel, I think they've been fighting for 3,500 years. I don't know that you're ever going to stop them from fighting. But I think that every person in the world has the right to be free and do what they choose to do.
100%.
As long as it does not come between me and you and create problems.
Exactly.
So, I believe that you have the right to live peaceful in the world. You believe in what you want to believe in. Just do not do something to push it on someone else, like the stuff you see in the colleges and everything like that. Protest. Don't throw bombs and Molotov cocktails at police officers and things like that, because when you do that, you should be arrested.
Exactly, yeah.
Just like people who destroyed the Teslas. Every one of them should have been prosecuted to the maximum, so you stop it from happening moving forward.
Yeah, that's the thing. They need to be hard on the consequences to prevent people from continuing this type of behavior. Because I don't care, you can hate Elon all you want, but at the end of the day, that's not his Tesla anymore. That's someone else's. And they might even be on your side, which is the crazy part.
That's the crazy part, yeah.
The news cycle moves so quickly, where we've been so enamored with Iran and Israel that all of the other things that were going on in the United States and in the rest of the world have become minute. Mm-hmm. No one talks about Russia, Ukraine. You haven't seen any national things with ICE since all this transpired 12 days ago. Everybody just gets so worked up because the media has the ability to spin it in a capacity for you to have to decipher it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Russia, Ukraine kicked off. Of course, whenever a new war kicks off, it's World War III. And then 4 years pass, and you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not World War III. And then Israel, Iran kicks off. And it's like, no, this is World War III. And it's the same thing over and over again. At the end of the day, it's like, listen, that's why when a new headline comes up, I'm like, all right, we'll just see what happens, man. Like, at the end of the day, these countries, they aren't going to nuke the United States. They're not. No one's going to nuke Russia. So I'm not really worried when this stuff comes up.
I thought it was interesting yesterday when Putin said that the axis of evil could possibly give Iran nuclear weapons. I was like, that makes no sense for your future.
No. I mean, at the end of the day, if hypothetically someone were to use nukes on Russia, and even if they take out Russia's nuclear capabilities, meaning people were able to, that are actually able to launch the nukes, Russia is one of the countries that has essentially a dead man switch, where if their nuclear capabilities are taken out, they still have a way to sense when nukes are hitting their land, and they will automatically launch all of the nukes that they have. So it goes back to the whole concept of, if I nuke this country, I'm essentially destroying the whole world, because everyone else is going to fire off all their nukes regardless.
That's where you have to have people that have to be reasonable and love their life. You could get the wrong individual in leadership and say, you know what? Just like the guy in Iran, he's 86 years old. If he had the ability to destroy Israel, and he could be the martyr that they would talk about for the rest of time, that this Ayatollah destroyed Israel, why wouldn't he do it?
No, I mean, that is also an argument too. I mean, and that is quite possible. But I mean, maybe not anymore. Hopefully not anymore. We don't know what the real story is behind Iran's nuclear capabilities, if we actually took out anything or not. Again, it's all staged. They all knew when the strikes were coming. They all knew, that the missiles were going to hit our base in Qatar. They knew everything. So it goes back to, like, is it all just a show to keep people under control? Maybe it is. Is Iran actually trying to destroy Israel? Probably. Are they trying to destroy the rest of the world? I don't think so, but that's a fair point to bring up. I mean, he could be a martyr. The one that could basically get him to his heaven, essentially.
That is true. But it's no different than anything else. Money makes the world go around. And the only thing that Iran has is oil. So he and Iran sell 35 to 38% of their oil to China. And it all flows through one body of water. So I just don't see. Maybe what you're saying, Gonzo, is correct. Maybe it's a show. Maybe all it is just a big show.
Yeah, I think for the most part it is. I think that, I mean, all the intelligence agencies across the world are pretty much tied together anyway. They all know when something's going to happen before it does. And even in some cases, they've just said, hey, letting you know this is what we're going to do. Evacuate this base. We're going to hit, the U.S. base in Qatar. And then, of course, no casualties. The missiles were intercepted. And even if you look at Israel, all the missiles that hit Israel, how few casualties we've actually heard of. I mean, actually, ironically, someone said this today I saw. If I told you to throw a brick at a large crowd and not kill anyone, you would have a very hard time doing so. So the fact that there's so little casualties there in Israel, it's like, was any of this actually legitimate, or was it all planned?
It's crazy how the simplest things becomes so complicated when you start analyzing. JB and I have been waiting for all the files to be released from Cash Patel, Dan Bongino. I still want to see the gold at Fort Knox.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just, but it's like the magician, the shell game. They start moving the shells and everybody forgets about what's actually going on, but we still want to know the answers.
Right. Well, like you said, I mean, if you actually think about it, it starts to not make sense. And their whole goal of the media is to tell you what to think so that way you don't have to. Because when you start thinking about it, you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And then this thing doesn't make sense. So they don't want us to actually think about it for ourselves, because then we start figuring out the puzzles.
Like yesterday morning, you would have thought, common sense, that the oil market, crude oil, with the conflict going on, would have gone up in price. Instead, it dropped 6 points. So there was someone in the know that made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a great point. So you think the prices, because of this, the price of oil is going to go up naturally because, okay, there's issues over there. If we can't get oil from Iran or wherever else, the price is going to go up. But then it went down. And a few people placed their bet that the price would go down, but the majority probably lost money.
I think it was 80% were betting going up. When it's just the natural gas and the oil that we produce. But we only produce a small portion of it for the world. Somebody knew something.
Yeah. All a part of the plan.
And it's just insane that we are where we are. And when I keep going back to every Senate, congressional person, there should be term limits, get the people out of there. Chuck Schumer, you said it very well, Gonzo. He's been there, he's got a paycheck. What has he actually done to benefit the United States of America? What has he done to benefit the Jewish constituents in New York City, or his district in New York?
Jack.
Yet he somehow keeps getting reelected.
AOC wants to impeach President Trump. But you go look at her borough in New York and surrounding area, it's horrible. She needs to be there instead of being out on the campaign trail with Bernie Sanders telling everyone to impeach Trump.
Yeah, just imagine if all these people were actually doing what they were elected for, which is essentially helping their district, helping their county, helping their state, whatever it is. Imagine how great this country would be if each state had a representative and representatives that actually were working to make the people's lives better.
So when we talk about Kamala Harris running for governor of California, there will be people who leave California and go to Texas, go to Florida, go to Arizona. But we talk about it all the time. They can't take their mindset to that area. Did I lose you?
No, you're good. We're still here. You're still here too. Maybe not.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, you can hear us. You'll come back here in a second, I think. But basically, like he was saying, the trend keeps coming where people are noticing a failure of leadership. I think I got you back, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Go ahead with what you're saying, guys.
No, people. I mean, it's failed leadership in New York, failed leadership in California. Those are the two biggest examples. People are moving in droves to Texas, to Florida, and what do? They say, you know what? We should elect Kamala Harris as governor. That will fix the problem. And then they're surprised when, the next 4 years of her governorship, it's like, wait, why are people leaving still? Why are the streets dirty? Why are people killing each other?
Fear no man, fear no evil. You have to elect the leader that you would follow to the end of time. And that's not Kamala Harris.
Mm-mm.
I think that Florida has a governor that is similar to what President Trump is. He says what's on his mind, and he does what's right for the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He unilaterally organized planes from Florida to fly to Israel to bring Floridians back to Florida, above and beyond what the federal government did. No other governor was doing that.
No.
So he cares about his constituents.
Yeah. And that's really all you can ask for at the end of the day is, do you care about the citizens of your state or your country? And if you do, show us that. And there's very few people that in elective office that are really showing us that.
Well, one of the things that he has organized and put together is the alligator Alcatraz.
I did see that, yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, I did see that today,
So,
actually.
He is trying to help the federal government to take an abandoned airport and create a facility that will hold over 1,000 people for deportation. And he's doing this all on...
Yeah, I think it's crazy. We realize how much money a state could actually round up when they really want to, instead of all these other states claiming a national emergency and getting federal funding and then not using it. But at the end of the day, if you have the right people in office, it's like, listen, this is what we can do as a state or as a county or as an entire nation. So, I mean, if the money's used correctly, we can actually get a lot done.
Think how much money's been wasted in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Just with hurricane relief. You can look at what the Joe Biden administration did with Helene and lack of use.
So where did the money go?
Misappropriation of funds.
Yes.
What'd you say, JB?
So where did the actual money go?
On a pallet to Iran.
Damn.
All I know is it's not going in my pocket. It's going in someone else's pocket.
Yes.
And that's the reason why these people are staying in office for 40 plus years.
Well, how do you change it, Gonzo? How do you change it? You're a young man. You and JB both are. How do you go about changing the history of the politics of what's been going on?
Well, if we can't convince everyone else to vote these people out, unfortunately, the only way is to do what they did in 1775. But I don't think we're ready for that conversation.
The irony of that, I thought about that earlier today. When I knew we were going to talk about everyone speaking of impeaching Trump and all of the things, these are the same people that would be on their hands and knees begging for someone to give them bread, to feed them, to make sure that they were safe. These people don't have the strength or the wherewithal to stand up and fight. All they do is hide behind the bullshit and the chaos that they create.
Mm-hmm. No, you're exactly right. I mean,
They will not stand up and fight.
no. No, I mean, yeah, these people
They
are.
would be the ones begging you, begging JB, and begging me to see that they could have water, to see that they could eat. And that's what's wrong.
And I don't want. I'm not gonna say it's necessarily unfortunate, but the thing is too, a lot of people would feed them still, despite everything they did. There's be a
They
lot
would
of
what?
there. Despite everything they've done, there would be a lot of people that would still have enough grace to feed them.
Yeah, like a lot of compassion.
Yep.
Feed them. And then guess what? When you turn your back, they would steal your food.
Which is crazy, but it's entirely true, actually. But we've been taken advantage of for so long, and I think that in a situation like that, the majority of people would still allow themselves to be taken advantage of by the very snakes that have been raping them this whole time.
It goes to the whole good people get taken advantage of. That's why I dance with the devil and I walk with the angels, and if it ain't black, it's going to be white. And life is black. Life is black. Very rarely is it white.
No.
Because people, you have to be dark to succeed in this world that we live in right now.
Yeah, it's only white after we die. Hopefully.
There you go. Someone's out there trying to take advantage of you, JB, and me right now. Whether it's somebody, I promise. Have any one of you noticed the increase of spam, phone calls, texts, emails?
Like every day,
I
yeah.
had to design an entire program on my phone to essentially block anyone that wasn't in my contact list because of how many calls I get.
So it's drastically increased.
Yeah. And the problem
Why do you
is,
think that is? Who's created it?
well, I mean, I think there's always been scammers and, especially people doing scam calls and phishing emails and stuff like that. But I think that the advancement of technology has made it much easier to do, and there's no shortage of bad people. So bad people are taking advantage of the technology we have to take advantage of kind people, oftentimes elderly or younger people that don't know what they're doing. So people get taken advantage of all the time. And I mean, at the end of the day, there's maybe there's not enough restriction against it, or there's not enough laws against it, or maybe it's just a really slippery slope. I don't know what the deal is, but it is unfortunate to see how easy it can be to take advantage of someone from overseas, meaning, there's a calling center somewhere that is essentially able to call someone and trick them into getting financial information or social security numbers or whatever. It is unfortunate.
I think it's funny, Gonzo. You can get an email that literally looks like it is from the Florida Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
That you haven't paid your tolls. Then you click that email, then it's like Florida Department of Transportation at Gmail dot
Right.
so and so and so. So I've never seen. I would feel sorry, and I actually felt sorry for myself because I got played a couple times. I was like, "What the hell is this?" and started raising hell. And then I was asked, "Did you look to see who it was from?" Then I did, and I was like, "Son of a bitch, scammer."
Yeah, apparently I owe like $3,000 in tolls and another $2,000 in unpaid tickets and a bunch of other crap.
That was me, I just want to reach out to
I'll give you my
Gonzo.
Venmo number.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Right now, where everyone can see. But no, I think
No, that's a negative Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to the point where, like, Coinbase, for example, they have to create all these anti-phishing, like, what would you call it? Protections, essentially, where it's like they have to train you to say, hey, if you get an email from us, it's going to have this code that only you know. If you get an email and it doesn't have this code, it's not from us. But the fact that businesses have to go and do that just shows the state that we're in right now when it comes to how many scams are going on out there.
With banking, this is why I think blockchain is tremendous. I'm all for give me a little skew on my forearm and no one else has.
Yeah, I don't know about the skew in my forearm personally, but I get what you're saying. The blockchain is definitely something that can be created for good. At the end of the day, people are being taken advantage of financially. And, I mean, it makes me skeptical about any phone call I get from anyone. It's like, or any email. The first thing I do now, like you said, is look where the email is actually coming from. Because it's ironically going to be some BS Gmail or Yahoo email. But yeah, I mean, I think another thing we need to do is just keep raising awareness of this so that people don't get taken advantage of.
I literally, every time I get a phone call from a number that's not in my phone, I immediately block that number. It's just crazy. California, North Dakota. I'm like, who in the hell? How?
Yeah, the problem is, like, once you put your information in some sort of application that maybe the application itself is not going to do anything, but they could send that information to a list. Now your information is on a list that a bunch of people are buying, and they just spam everyone on that list, whether it's phone calls or emails, whatever it is. So now you have to be skeptical of, okay, what kind of application am I filling out, or where am I putting my information? Because, too, even if it's a legitimate company, we know that these companies are selling your data anyway. So eventually it's going to get out there to someone.
So, JB, you're a computer whiz. How do you stop this?
I don't know. I've never been hacked or phished in real life, so I don't know. It's more or less like you said. I mean, it's all personal, right? I mean, I only pick up calls from people I actually know. I only answer emails from people I actually know.
Yeah, Jared is one of the most, like, cautious people I know when it comes to stuff like this. Like, he doesn't trust anyone. I could come to him with a completely legitimate proposal or something, and he would think that I'm trying to scam him.
You still owe me 20. You still owe me $20, by the way.
Is that why he doesn't have a? Is that why he does not have a girlfriend?
Possibly.
At the end of the day, all women are government agents.
Good for you, JB.
All women.
I promise you, she is trying to scam you.
All women are government agents. They're federal agents trying to entrap us, and we don't trust them.
For sure, there is no doubt. But let's talk about happiness. What is the happiest thing that happened to you, JB, this week?
Happiest thing. I don't know, probably like gym goals, things like that. Yeah, I've already lost like 40 pounds last few months.
Personal,
Selfish, health.
hedonistic individual.
Absolutely. Getting shit done at work.
God forbid a man has a hobby. Jeez.
Basically, anything I touch, I really just try to be successful at,
Well, I can tell you've been successful at getting a haircut. Good.
Yep. It's on the calendar.
I would say the happiest thing that
What
happened.
about you, Gonzo?
Yeah, the happiest thing that happened to me this past week was coming home from Savannah.
But the drive was terrible, right? It's like 4.5 hours.
Yeah, the drive back is even worse than the drive up there.
Dang.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough drive. The happiest thing for me this past week, I was fortunate enough to have dinner at the Vineyard a couple times. I got a couple great meals, and it was amazing.
Anything custom
When
this
you can
time?
walk in somewhere, I'm sorry?
Anything custom this time or just straight from the menu?
Nope, custom. Fried pork chop.
good.
I highly recommend it. They have grilled pork chops, but I'm sure if you ask for a fried pork chop, they'll be more than glad to do it for you, and it is.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, going to Vineyard for me personally is usually the highlight of my week anyway.
It actually really is that good. Brunch, lunch, dinner.
Gene will give you love and care. That man on the grill is attentive to detail, and when it comes off, it is the temperature you ask for.
Mm-hmm. As it should be. Shout out to the Vineyard. Best restaurant in all Orlando.
Need T-shirts for the summer. Take a look, see what you like, and we'll get them out.
Blackheart Gear. Blackheart Gear, another one of our beloved sponsors. The Cigar guys as well. And, of course, as mentioned earlier, Branch and Barrel. That is the fuel of the future, my friend. Branch and Barrel is going to keep you going for all 36 hours and beyond.
I thought about this. You know what they did when they got back to Missouri? They got a base of cigar.
To celebrate. And a little more Branch and Barrel.
To celebrate the success. And a shot of Branch and Barrel.
Absolutely. Way to go, team. That's how we celebrate every day.
Team USA. Well, JB, I know that you have very little that you want to get off your ship this week.
Yeah, I didn't do anything bad at the bachelor party. You know, got my hair cut off.
That's what he gets
Doing
off his
good.
ship every week. Is just a little more hair.
A little bit more hair, yeah.
I went to get my hair cut today, and my barber said I don't have enough hair to get a haircut. How's that?
So is that a discount, or he just said get out of there?
I just took a discount.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm giving up eating, which I feel like most people would tell me that's what I should do the opposite of, but I'm intermittent fasting, so giving up food essentially.
Why is that, Gonzo?
Just for like gut health reasons. You know, I'm a relatively healthy guy, but I'm trying to always make myself better. And I feel like after doing a lot of research and stuff, there's a lot of food we eat or even like drinking and stuff that, you know, affects you. And I want to, like I said, I'm very healthy, but I want to be healthy for a long time. So just looking at different ways to keep my health and longevity as long as possible.
Basically, he's trying to get all the alcohol out of his system from this weekend.
That's another way to put it.
Well, I drive a lot, I travel a lot, so I try to find new music. And the highlight of my week this week was I found a new band called Sons of Legion, and that was who opened the show tonight. And I like promoting people. They're independent. They don't have an agent. They don't have any big group, and that's who opened the show tonight. So play a little bit of that, Gonzo.
Absolutely.
Angels, maybe we could be angels. He waits at a traffic light that used to be a stop sign. There's a girl begging on the corner with hunger in her eye.
Great voice. I mean, great melody. I really like these guys, actually. I'm glad you brought them up.
Yeah, it's anytime that you have the opportunity to find something that's not commercialized, I think is wonderful, because I tell my wife all the time, we get in the truck or in the car, and it's like constant repeat, Morgan Wallen, or constant repeat, Luke Combs, and I'm like, enough.
Yeah,
I'm over it.
I get
wanna
it,
hear
yeah.
something fresh. And you just don't get it. But I'm looking forward to the next week coming up. I think that we have a lot of opportunities to see the country grow and allow the president to do his job. Quit holding him back. JB, what do you want off your ship this week?
I think people just need to trust what they voted for. I mean, I think that everyone's really scared right now when it comes to the war. I don't think he's going to start a new war. We have to hold tight, see what's happening. I think both sides will be exposed, and people have more of a resolution moving forward. I think there's good things come down the line, and we just got to hold tight here.
Fear and distractions.
Yeah,
essentially.
summary. Yeah, summary.
Fear and distractions. Think for yourself.
As our ship set sails and closes tonight, I want everyone who doesn't understand that every action has an equal or greater reaction. So how and what you do today, tomorrow, will create a bigger distraction for you if you do not stay between 11 and 1. Believe in what's going on. Love America. And have a great day.
Absolutely.
Good, yeah.
Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And shout out to Sons of Legion, great music. And until next week, we'll see you later, guys. Take care.
Lying by the stove. He don't talk to God, so he listens to the news.